Hello and welcome to Mary's Nutrition Show, coming to you live from Seattle, Washington. This is the antioxidant episode. What the heck are antioxidants and why you need to eat more of them? Now here's your host, registered dietitian nutritionist, Mary Purdy.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Mary's Nutrition Show. I am Mary Purdy. I am thrilled to be here, and I'm wearing polka dots. Why not?
Hey!
I want to introduce my videographer, producer, and yes, my husband, Keith Hitchcock of Hocus Pocus Media.
Hello, I'm right over here on the other side of the kitchen counter.
He's right over there, filled with antioxidants, as am I. So, yes, our topic today is the exciting topic of antioxidants. Many people have asked about this topic because it's important about how you live your life and about how you prevent disease. You're going to want to stick around. I'm going to be talking about 5 or so points around antioxidants, and you might be interested in knowing that a good source of antioxidants might just be something that you are indulging in for dessert.
Ooh, theme music.
Oh.
Bow, bow, wanny, bang, bow, wow, 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 wow.
Just so you know, please consult your doctor before taking any advice from today's show. And please note that today's opinions are solely those of Mary Purdy, that is me, and the producer, and do not reflect necessarily the beliefs or policies of Aravel, Dietitians in Integrative and Functional Medicine, or Bastyr. Thank you.
Hey, if you're out there, or even if you're not, feel free to join in the conversation. If you're watching live, you can drop a comment or a question into the chat to the right of the video window. And if you're watching the recording of the live show, there's a comment section under the video. So drop a comment in there, drop a question.
Drop some money.
We make a point of responding to each and every one of those comments and questions. So keep them coming. We love it.
Yes.
We've introduced you and me, but there's another introduction that needs to be made.
Very true.
If you were watching last week, you would have met Julie. Julie was a hand puppet made out of Mary's cast. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we had an audience member, Scott, write to us saying that Julie seemed a little bit stiff. He suggested recasting. And indeed we have. Here at Mary's Nutrition Show, we listen.
We did. We took your opinions and suggestions to heart. New cast member, please welcome Jasmine. Yes, just quick note, little torn ligament, got some surgery, everything's fine, I'm on the mend. But this will be part of the show today, just because that's the way it is. Hey! Not enough antioxidants to heal this little baby, but, what are you going to do?
Hello, Jasmine.
Hello. Good to be here.
Isn't that a good puppet voice there? You need a different voice.
Hello.
That's a little better.
But you can see that it's me because I'm talking. It's all right, though.
So we had a last week's challenge. What was that?
Yes, last week's challenge was for you to take 1, 2, or perhaps 7 days to not have refined sugar of any kind.
Ooh, and how did that go for you? Hey, if you are watching and you gave it a shot, or if you're not watching, you're watching the video after the fact, how did it go? We want to know. Drop a comment in the chat, either to the right or under your screen. Abby is saying Jasmine is the cutest.
Oh, thank you.
Nancy wrote to us and said, hey, I worked on the sugar last week. She got some dates and apricots, and it helped satisfy my sweet tooth.
Well, wonderful, Nancy. I couldn't agree more. Dates are so delicious, especially with a little smidge of peanut butter on top.
She also says she hopes Julie is doing okay.
I'll let her know. Thank you.
Tanya says, I try to keep my intake of sugar and artificial sweeteners down. What are your thoughts on all natural stevia as a sweetener?
Yeah, I think stevia, amidst all of those non-nutritive sweeteners, is probably one of the best bets out there. I think the research is still a little bit on the up-and-coming front, but I would say out of everything, stevia is probably the most natural, and you're using it in such small amounts, there's not a lot of research to show that it has any negative impact. So
Jill wrote and said, hey, I stopped eating sugar 2 years ago.
Ooh, Jill.
And I get a screaming headache whenever I do accidentally eat it, like at a restaurant. I had never heard of that.
Yeah, I think it's common. I think it's one of those things that when people stop eating something that doesn't necessarily work for their body, when they start taking it in again, it really has a big impact. They just become more sensitive to it. So, and especially if you haven't had it for a while and you haven't had other foods, it can be fairly depleting fairly quickly. So people become pretty sensitive to it.
Thank you for writing in. It's so fun to hear how you're doing with the challenges.
And bravo!
Yeah, bravo. Rock and roll.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today, Mary?
Yes, we are talking about antioxidants. What are antioxidants? Well, before I tell you what antioxidants are, I need to talk about why we even need them to begin with. So, point number one. Antioxidants, why do we need them? Whoa. The thing is, being human, it's rough out there, isn't it, Keith?
It's so rough.
It's rough. We contend with a lot of forces, outside forces, and therefore we may have to contend with something that are called free radicals. Now, you may have heard of these, you may have not. I am here to explain what they are. Free radicals are these reactive molecules that come into our lives by the fact that we are exposed to all kinds of environmental toxins, but also because we actually produce them ourselves internally just by metabolizing and being alive. So what we need are those antioxidants to actually neutralize them, because free radicals in excess can actually cause damage to your cells, and they can disrupt your cell function and put you at a higher risk for diseases like immune issues, autoimmune issues, and cancer. So antioxidants are a good bet to have on board.
It just seems unfair that those radicals would be out there like that.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They really are.
Where are they?
Good question. Well, we find them in things like pollution. We find them in smoking. We find them in chemicals that we're exposed to on a regular basis, some of which we may not even be aware of. Industrial byproducts or compounds that come out of industry. Charbroiled meats. High heated oils that can become rancid. So that's the environmental force of free radicals that come into our lives every day. But also, as I mentioned earlier, we produce free radicals on a regular basis just by being alive.
Oh,
yes.
Not fair.
Not fair. It's tough being human. When we exercise, especially when we exercise excessively or very, very hard, we produce free radicals. When we digest, when we eat, we produce free radicals. Now, this is not to say that we should not be eating or exercise. We should be. It's a natural process for us to create free radicals, but we need to have sufficient antioxidant defenses internally in order to continue that neutralization of those free radicals so we don't do damage to our bodies.
I feel like the deck is stacked against us by just being human
It's
and
tough. It's
having
a tough
all these
world out there.
natural and unnatural processes going on.
Yes.
So now you got to tell me I want some of these antioxidants.
Yes.
How do I get them?
Let's talk about antioxidants. So what do they do? Essentially, you could think of the antioxidants or an antioxidant as like the kindergarten teacher who diffuses the craziness happening in a disruptive group of angry, rambunctious 4-year-olds who are wreaking havoc. And so the antioxidant works to neutralize these free radicals and helps to protect your body. Now, the thing is, antioxidants, where do we find them? We find them in things that are colorful. They come in wonderfully, beautifully packaged products like this beautiful carrot, for instance. Yes, but the key with antioxidants is not just one color. You can eat carrots as long as you want to, but we don't need just orange. We need the spectrum. The research shows that it is about the variety of antioxidants that come in a variety of different colors. So don't just stick with orange carrots. Go for, hey, all different colored carrots. Look at this. We've got like a purple carrot and a yellow carrot. So we're looking for the rainbow. Red in a strawberry or a tomato. As I mentioned, orange in a carrot or a sweet potato or an apricot. Nancy, hey, you got your antioxidants and your sugar craving on. We've got things, then we go to green, like this beautiful collard green, or things like asparagus or green beans. And then there's our gorgeous blues, which can be your eggplant or your blueberries or your beautiful, and this is sort of bluish purple, your gorgeous beet. So the idea is to get a huge spectrum of antioxidant-rich foods throughout the day so that you have enough defenses to protect you. And remember, antioxidants may not just be found in fruits and vegetables. They can be found in things like garlic, yes, and onions, yes. And some of these kinds of foods actually help to upregulate or increase the expression of your internal antioxidant defense system. So they essentially switch on your antioxidant defenses and help protect your body. Even something like our beautiful green tea, which you can drink. And Keith and I do that every single day with great enthusiasm. It's the reason we wake up in the morning, isn't
It's
it?
a real motivator.
Oh, man. I just can't. It's so sad when 2 o'clock rolls around because you can't drink tea anymore.
Yeah, no more caffeine after 2.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention, too, as I tempted you in the beginning of the show, one thing that has some antioxidant content that you might be enjoying as a dessert is chocolate.
Oh,
Yes.
what?
Yes.
What?
There are
Chocolate's bad for you.
No, not necessarily.
Really?
When you get good quality chocolate.
We just talked about sugar.
We did, but this isn't necessarily a high sugar chocolate. It is the antioxidant content of the cacao, which helps to provide additional boost to your defense system. So enjoy a small piece of chocolate, knowing that there's some, what we call polyphenols, one of the antioxidant families in there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, antioxidants, cinnamon, paprika, and yes, even a little sprig of parsley.
2 things. You said we find these in colorful packages, packaged foods, and I think the distinction, it's not packaged foods. You're talking about vegetables, basically.
Well, I was doing a play on they come in their own packaging.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
This is the package.
The other
right
thing
here.
is, like, these are all things like the beet. I need to cook that. The onion, the garlic. I need to cook that.
Yes.
Is there? How do I? So I don't eat a whole chocolate bar looking for antioxidants.
Right.
How do I do that without? Do I have to cook them?
You don't necessarily have to cook them. And in fact, some of the compounds that are found in some of these vegetables are all the more potent when they aren't cooked. So aside from cooking, eating them raw is great, but there's other things that you can do. Like, for instance, I bought this beet spread, which was made with walnuts. Great way to get your beets on. Throw them in a blender. Throw them in a Cuisinart with some other good, yummy foods and make your own spread. Or, yes, sometimes it's okay to drink your antioxidants. So while you're not necessarily going to get the fiber from the vegetables that are in a juice, you can get a nice supply and keep it really, really easy. And lastly, I want to introduce sauerkraut. This is a really easy way and simple modality, or not modality, but vehicle for getting some additional antioxidant-rich foods in your diet. So you don't necessarily need to cook. You can get creative about how they fit in.
I've really been getting into the fermented stuff like that.
We got a show
The
coming up
kraut.
on that one,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we don't want to get
Great.
ahead of
Okay,
ourselves.
I won't get. Did you hit all your points? Because there's some questions coming in.
Oh yeah, I think I hit all my points.
Okay, what's your favorite? What is your
Keith,
there are
that's
some.
like asking which is my favorite child. Are you crazy? I can't.
Okay, I'm just gonna say chocolate because I know you like the chocolate.
I do like the chocolate.
We actually have some questions coming in,
All
and
right.
if you have some questions about antioxidants, go ahead and drop them in right now. I'm gonna toss one out at you from Nicole.
Nicole, okay.
She says, "Are antioxidants lost when cooking these foods, or are they just as good for us cooked versus raw?"
Such a good point. Yes, it depends. It depends on the fruit or vegetable. So, for instance, lycopene is actually enhanced when you cook a tomato. So the lycopene actually becomes more available to the body. But something like a cruciferous vegetable, these guys, this is your collard, your kale, your cabbages, your Brussels sprouts. Those are in the cruciferous vegetable family. Now, when those get cooked, their antioxidants, which are called, warning, big word, glucosinolates.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's
sorry.
big.
Let's repeat. Glucosinolates, big word, warning. They actually get destroyed by cooking. So if you want the antioxidant benefits of the glucosinolates from your cruciferous vegetables, oh my God, so many big words. My tongue's getting tired. You want to eat them raw or just slightly steamed. Great question. Thank you for clarifying that.
Abby is wondering about red wine. Are there antioxidants in red wine?
There definitely is an antioxidant in red wine, a polyphenol called resveratrol, which I wouldn't necessarily say like don't drink copious amounts of red wine in order to get sufficient amounts of resveratrol. But yes, there is a lovely antioxidant friend in the red wine.
So many big words,
I'm
Mary.
sorry.
Can you just tell us that red wine is good and just call it done?
I'm just going to call it thing from now on.
Okay.
It has a thing in it. So resveratrol. Instead of saying resveratrol, I'm going to say thing.
Is there an optimal amount of wine? Because there's probably, I guess you always have to weigh like how much the good the antioxidant is doing versus like what alcohol might be doing to the rest of things.
It's such a good question. I think it's going to depend on the person and what their situation is. In general, the recommendations around alcohol and wine is no more than 1 glass a day for women and no more than 2 for men. But again, that may even be too much for somebody depending on what their situation is, or it may be too little. It kind of just is going to be dependent upon what your individual situation is.
Thank you for those questions, Nicole and Abby. Hey, I think it's time for a new current weekly challenge.
Yes, the weekly challenge this week. You might be curious, or you might have already decided what it's about, and you're probably right. Well, it's about antioxidants. I challenge you, our audience, to take 3 days and eat 3 of the colors of the antioxidant family. So it could be red, it could be blue, it could be purple, it could be orange.
Visual examples.
Orange and red and purple-ish, green. So for instance, you could have blueberries at breakfast and then have a sandwich that had a spinach in it. And then for the afternoon, dip some red peppers in hummus. And at night, have some roasted red or orange carrots. Simple ideas. Done.
All right. 3 days.
3 days.
On 3 different days of this next week. Eat 3 of the 5 colors in that day.
Yes.
Okay.
Understood?
I'm going to try.
Understood.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you appreciated the show, you can help us out by subscribing to the Mary Purdy YouTube channel. And let us know what you want to hear about. You could drop a question or comment at our website. That is marypurdy.co, marypurdy.co. You'll find our question and comment form there. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for your questions. Thank you, Mary, for all that info. And
Thank you.
Hey, should we tune in next week?
Definitely tune in next week because the topic, oh, nuts, I forgot it. Wait a second. It's about nuts. Very, very exciting. You probably want to know, what is the best nut for you? Well, I'm going to tell you. No, I'm not. You're going to have to tune in next week.
All right. I'll be there.
I'll be there too. And in the meantime, get your antioxidants. Right, Jasmine? Right.
Bye, Jasmine.
Bye.
See you next time.
See you next week.
Thanks for joining.